can do that.
We'll move this
We'll move
back.
that here.
In order not to block view of the Torah table, we're going to park this right here. Slide everything forward just a notch. Move the candles back just far enough that they don't catch fire on the foliage.
I think we're good.
Looks good. All right, very good. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Watch the cord.
Oh.
You know,
Go.
Tell me later.
Did you ever,
If it was something good, I hope I did, yes. Somebody you're thinking of, somebody I know?
my brother,
I don't know. We came up with this month during COVID when we had to do it all. We said, you know what, this is a good graphic. Good option. Good option. Oh, thank you. You got the last one? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry?
The cantor here. Rob, this is, oh, there you are.
What time do you have?
7:30.
I've got like 7:29.
7:29. I had 7:28. Got 7:29. It's 7:30. Office a copy of our Haskarat Neshama.
I don't think they want to cooperate.
But Heather is a dynamic and resourceful woman who is up to the challenge.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Please join me. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Everyone turn to the person closest to you and say it. Go on, you know the words. Shabbat Shalom. And we turn forward. Satellite Sidur, you're at the top of page 2, in-house 142, for a greeting to the Shabbat angels of blessing and of peace.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShait, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
rise out of respect when the judge enters a courtroom, or the king enters his throne room to hold court. So may we now be seated once more as we turn the page and prepare for the recitation of the Shema. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv ravim. Praise to you, eternal God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Let's read on together our poem prayer. Creator of the tide of time and light. Spans to infinity. You and I, O God, from whom the evening flows.
Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
Amen.
Mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, v'shabbeinu v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'b'mitzvotecha, al tesir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shal Moshem k'od malchuto le'olam va'ed.
Standing at this present moment between past and future, at this parted shores of history, we still believe what we were. Wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, a place of narrowness and constraint, that there was always a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, and a truth so salient we always proclaim it in unison, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together. Power and drama of the Song of the Sea to the serenity of a bedtime prayer. Page 161.
Shomrei Shabbat, v'kore eyonek Shabbat, v'yismechu b'malchutecha. Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, v'kore eyonek Shabbat. Zecher l'maaseh, l'maaseh v'yishit Shabbat. Zecher
Proclaim together in the words of the psalmist, Adonai svatai tiftach ufiagid tilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. And don't forget on page 168, prayer for rain. As of tonight, it is the season.
This seventh day is consecrated to the eternal God. On Shabbat, eternal sign of creation, we remember that we are created in the divine image. We therefore raise the cup in thanksgiving. Let's join together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pri hagafen. Blessed you are Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzalanu, v'shabbat kodesho, be'aratzon, inchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila, b'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'siat Mitzrayim. Kivanu b'chata, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodesh.
And the inspiration of Ezra. And they told him, let's do something special. Bring out that Torah and read it. They didn't know it was Rosh Hashanah until they got to the part in the middle of Leviticus, the third book of the Torah, where it says the first day of the seventh month is a holy convocation in which no work is to be done. And they're screaming, Gevalt, here we are in market day, in the marketplace doing regular. We didn't know today was Yontif. And the priest Ezra, the Kohen, and the governor Nehemiah told them, do not rebuke yourselves, do not mourn, do not grieve. This is a joyous and sacred day before God. Come back in 2 weeks and we'll do Sukkot. And they did. And when the 8th culminating day of Sukkot was over, they would not go home. Do you remember back on Rosh Hashanah how I hearkened and emphasized and pointed out we call God Melech, much more than the rest of the year, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. And yet in the Rosh Hashanah liturgy and on Yom Kippur for the 10 days, Melech, HaMelech, HaMelech, instead of Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh, praise to you, O God, the Holy God, with Baruch atah HaMelech HaKadosh, the Holy King. We were in an audience with Melech HaOlam for 52 days. And we're not stepping down from that madrega quite yet. What do you do for an encore? We celebrate our Torah legacy, our gift from God. By finishing 1 year's Torah cycle, be together in our synagogue at all. How to create an optic for our congregation worshiping from afar and live streaming, watching on video. How to do the drama we used to be when we were a larger and somewhat more nimble assemblage. We would unfurl the entire Torah scroll around the room and all of our worshipers would get in a giant circle and be machzikei hadat, upholders of the religion. We're too few in number and we're not as nimble and spry as we used to be. So even since pandemic, we've continued with this optic. And here's the fantasy I want everyone to buy into. This scroll on my side is the very beginning. That scroll on the other side of the table is the very end of the Torah in Deuteronomy. And we need to close the circle. The last word in the Torah, listen for it in a moment, is Yisrael, which ends with what letter? Lamed. And the first word in the Torah is Bereshit, which begins with what letter? Notice on the front of the table, Yisrael and Bereshit. The large lamed, the last letter, when we bring the circles close, the lamed touches the vet and makes the word lev, which means heart. This Torah is the heart and soul of the Jewish people. And so before we step down from the madrega of our 52-day season of holiness to back in black and everything being not quite ordinary, we're going to have one last slice of holiness. I invite my pulpit partner to come forth. We're going to share her microphone. Trade sides, Benedi. I promise not to breathe on it too much.
Banu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Om echad, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Cantor said, night, night. We're tucking the Torah back in. I was a guest yesterday at someone else's synagogue, and they honored me with maftir, the privilege of doing the Haftarah for Simchat Torah. Very poignant, because the Torah portion ends with the death of Moses. And we tag team immediately into Joshua 1, where God says to Joshua, my servant, Chazak ve'ematz, be strong and of good courage, because we Jews keep moving forward. Here in the presence of this sacred scroll, together with books and posters of Nazi themes and figurines of Adolf Hitler, to give true spiritual focus to their holy war against the Jewish people. Misha Berach, Avotenu Avraham v'Sara Yitzchak v'Rivka Yaakov Rachel v'Leo Yivrechet Chaylet Sova Hagana Yisrael Haomdim al Mishmar Artsenu v'Ale Eloheinu Migvul Hagvanon v'Al Midbar Mitzrayim u'min Hayam Hagadol ad Nelevo Arava v'Yavasha ba'avir u'vayam Yiten Adonai et Oivenu hakamim alenu nigafim lifnehem Hakadosh Baruch Hu yishmor v'yatzil et chayalenu mikol tzara v'tzuka mikol nega u'machala וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם. יד ברצוננו תחתיהם, ויתרם בכתר ישועה ועטרת ניצחון. ויקוים בהם הכתוב, כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם להילחם לכם אויביכם, להושיע אתכם ונאמר Amen. May the one who blessed our forebears bless the warriors of the Israel Defense Forces who stand guard over our land and the cities of our God, from the border of Lebanon to the desert of Egypt, from the great sea to the approach of the Arava on the land, sea, and air. May the Almighty cause the enemies who rise up against us to be struck down before them. May the Holy and Blessed One preserve and rescue our warriors from every trouble and distress, every plague and illness, and send blessing and success on their every endeavor. May God lead our enemies under our soldiers' sway, granting them salvation and crowning them with an honorable victory. And may there be fulfilled for them the verse, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you to battle your enemies for you, to save you. And we offer as well a prayer for healing for members of our congregation and those precious to them for whom our prayers have been asked. For Leah Jacobson, Joan Thompson, and Bert Thompson, Bert Posner, Freda Rosef, Roberta Schwartz, Jane Barron, Joanne Blau, Maxine Brenner, Shirley Posner, Larry Sachanover, Evan Rabinowitz, Marianne Mulligan, Anne D'Onofrio, Jean D'Onofrio, Peter Gioro, Peter and Linda Gagnon, Christy Raymond, Phil Fournier, Jim Cusack, and the dear ones of Tommy DiLorenzo, deprived of his company this day as he's relinquished his soul to the rest that he earned by his suffering. Anyone have any additional names you'd like to call out for Misha Berach and those in need of healing? And for those at home, we're not at all bashful about calling out a bad call to the umpire. pointed out that I talked about time on Rosh Hashanah, I talked about time on Yom Kippur. She said, yeah, pick something else next year. Even the Rebbetzin agrees. But here's the thing. There's an old story of a little village where the rabbi told the same Yom Kippur sermon 2 years in a row. And the trustees rushed Fred. He was so embarrassed. He said, really? Wow, what was it that I said and talked about 2 years in a row? And they looked at each other and they said, well, we don't really remember. And he said, then I think you might have to hear it for a third. So here's the question. Of all the times that I talk about time, who remembers who is the contemporary 20th century spiritual giant whom I always quote in that context that said Judaism is a religion of time? It was Abraham. Stand. On page 172, we just read this prayer a few moments ago. Ata kidashta et yom hashvi'i l'shimcha. You hallowed the seventh day for your own name. Next line, Yiddish speakers. What's the first word in the second line? Not the Hebrew tachlit, Yiddish. Tachlis. Tachlis. The bottom line, the sum total, what it's all about. We used to have an adult education program at my synagogue in San Francisco I called Talking Tachlis. Getting down to brass tacks with Jewish stuff. What's it all about, Alfie? Tachlit. Shabbat. This seventh day is Tachlit, where God drew the line on Ma'aseh V'Reshit. Look at the paragraph in the middle of the page. You set aside the seventh day for your name, the pinnacle of creation. The hell with pinnacle. Tachlit. The sum total of everything. And blessed it to be of all other days more sacred than all the festival times. Remember I pointed out on Yom Kippur this year, 2 weeks ago. Yom Kippur fell on. Read the last sentence in this paragraph. A cave where you could commune with God's Spirit, not a well, not a spring. Son, hin chi lanu. Cantor just sang it for us a couple minutes ago. Hin chi. Yizkor Elohim nishmot rivavot alfei Yisrael shenehergu shenisrafu shenitba'u shehrulu shenechenku al kiddush Hashem vavor shenadanu tzedakah ba'adam b'schar zetin nafshotehem tzrurot b'tzror chayim im nishmot Avraham v'Sara Yitzchak v'Rivka Yaakov Rachel v'Leah v'im sha'ar tzadikim v'tzidkaniot shebergan Eden v'nomar Amen. May God remember for good the souls of the myriads of the holy martyrs of Israel, including those who rendered up their souls, ripped and all the righteous gathered before God in paradise. And let us say, Amen. And let us rise together once more. El Malay Rachamim Memorial Prayer on page 4 of your booklet. God, full of compassion, dwelling on high, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence. The radiant souls of our dear ones who've departed this veil of illusion and embarked upon eternity. We continue together, O merciful one, as we have pledged tzedakah in their memory. Let them find refuge forever, and letting us be their nachala as well. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom. Greetings from our Board of Announcements. Greetings from our Board of Directors, I'm sorry. I welcome visitors for worshiping with us tonight and invite you to stay on hand for the Oneg Shabbat following services. Tonight's Oneg was coordinated by Mary Pinto, Joanne Blau, Mick Braun, Bob Jarez, Heather Greenfield, Linda Reitzes, Robin Singer, and Beth Weinberg. Tonight, I'll remind everyone, Melissa and Z are on vacation and will be returning on November 4th. If you have any issues, please contact myself or Marty Holtz. Come join us and vote for the best chewy on Marco Island on Saturday, November 2nd at 12 p.m. at the Esplanade. JCMI is sponsoring a booth, Steve's Awesome Chewy, at this year's Fireman's Rescue Foundation Chewy Cook-Off. Come listen to music, taste, and have some great chewy and win some prizes. You know, the services of Marco Island support the synagogue and when we doors. Monday Night Bingo has returned every Monday night. The doors open at 5:30. Anthony Pinto Jr.'s Honey is on sale at the office for $15, up to selling Memorial Yard-Side candles. Do not forget to bring in food for those in the community who are less fortunate when you come on Fridays, or leave a donation in the tzedakah box, and I thank you.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula li'oser breshit, shelo asanu kagoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכם ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Our Kaddish prayer on page 598 is a tribute on all those named a moment ago in our heart of hearts during our Haskarat Neshamot, as well as Hanley Triber, Mickey Wolf, and Edward Tessel, whose families observe yet the month of Shloshim. These the anniversaries of whose death were observed during the week now ending. Carl Abeson, Paul Foreman, Louis Fox, Robin Pollack, Stephen Rose, Lou Siegel, David Silverstein, Ivan Slavich, Harry Snyder, Bertha Turiel, Bernice Werber-Weisberg, Ethel Werber, Thomas Winter, Emma Zandeton. Salute the art site in addition. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. Yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata damiran be'alama v'imru. Amen. Ei shalom rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Amen. Aseh shalom bimramav. Uya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. May the maker of peace on high make peace for us, for all Israel, for those who mourn. And let us say. Amen. And as is her wont, for the Friday night, the last Friday of the month, we read Al HaTorah, on God's revealed will in Torah. Shlosha Devarim, Shlosha Devarim, Shlosha Devarim. Everyone, welcome back in black. Shabbat Shalom, and it's an exciting beginning of a new Torah cycle for the year. Well, those little binocular glasses that the surgeons use.